for the school corporation. Please be with all those, all of our administrators, all of our teachers, all of our staff, all of our kids and parents, as we just now started up back to school. Please be with every one of them. Please be with all those that serve and protect us. In your name we pray. Amen. Call to order. Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Hurd, could you do that for us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. We do have everyone here present. Mr. Wiry is joining us on Zoom. So we do have quorum present. Mission statement. Lisa.
Lebanon Community School Corporation will cultivate and reach every student by influencing and enriching their lives through the power of education, and do so in a positive and safe learning environment.
All right, thank you. Item number E, superintendent announcements. Dr. Millman.
Thank you, Mr. Bertrand. Mr. Tate mentioned this during his budget hearing a little bit ago, but I wanted to share with you that in July, our transportation department underwent their annual inspection by the Indiana State Police, and apart from just one minor replacement of a tailpipe in one of our small activity buses, the entire fleet passed on the first go around again. And so our kudos to the transportation department and the mechanics who do an outstanding job keeping our buses in great shape and safe for our students. Happy to report a smooth start to the 2021 school year across the district with all of our new procedures. Just as one example of that, our transportation department on the first day did not report one student to our administration that was not wearing their masks as they rode to school on our buses. So we were very thankful for the staff and the families as well as they prepared their students to come to school. As of today, we do not have any positive cases to report in the school. Our clerical staff's doing a great job of recording all of the illnesses and tracking those in a flow chart format. We hope that trend continues in our schools. We'll keep the board and our staff informed, and parents, of course, if that changes. Mrs. Taylor, kindergarten teacher at Perry Worth Elementary, was highlighted with Wish TV recently. She was highlighting all the safety measures that we've taken here in Lebanon schools, and they visited her classroom prior to the students joining her, and she did an outstanding job, so we thank her for doing that. Perry Worth students are hard at work closing any gaps in their learning using Mind Play, which is a tool designed to target and coach reading skills, and we're using that in all of our schools. You remember we did sign a contract for Mind Play recently, and that's becoming very helpful. We didn't purchase it for the purchase of closing the gaps from the COVID-19 closure, but we are certainly grateful that the board approved that purchase and we're able to do that. Under the guidance of Rachel Wynn, an art teacher at Harney Elementary, students submitted plans to name and decorate their tiger statue provided by the city of Lebanon. So TCAT carries our Lebanon pride on its back, and it's on wheels now, so it can be moved around the building to help inspire the students. If you follow the Harney or the district on social media, you might have seen it. It is a pretty elaborate paint scheme on that tiger, so well done by all of them. We are extremely grateful to our friends at the Boone County Community Foundation, who awarded each Boone County School District a $50,000 gift recently, and I will be asking the board to approve the acceptance of that gift later in the meeting this evening. We'll be working with our teachers and our administration to find the best way to use these funds to provide support for our staff. They need affirmation more than ever right now, some mental health support and morale boosting support, and we plan to use some of these dollars to be able to do that, as well as boost our educational neuroscience work and social emotional behavior supports for our student body as well. So looking forward to being able to have some funds to be able to do that. Each of you this evening should receive your Tigers Together T-shirts, along with every other employee in our district. We were able to provide those for them to start the school year. On Friday of this week, we're going to wear those, showing our unity with Tigers Together, and the superintendent might even allow jeans on that Friday as well for those. We're still contemplating it. Still contemplating. So enjoy that gift from the district this evening as well. That's all I have for my announcements this evening.
Somebody I wanted to say is our bus drivers. Obviously all of our teachers and staff, but the bus drivers have a pretty tough schedule too with
You bet.
the alphabet and days and everything like that. So I just want to say an extra thank you to the bus drivers for that.
Yes. Thank you for that.
Okay. Item number 2, approval of minutes. Board, I need a motion to accept our minutes from the July 15th regular scheduled board meeting.
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Herr? Any questions? Okay. All those in favor of accepting the approval of the July 15th board meeting signify by saying aye.
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 Okay. Those opposed, motion passes. Item number 3, audience of visitors. Don't see anything out there. Item number 4, consent agenda for routine business matters. Mr. Tate.
It's my pleasure to report to the board and community this evening our percents expended for the end of the month, July. Education fund at 53.63%, operations fund at 49.72%. At this time, I'd ask for approval of claims numbered 51550 through 51728 and the payrolls dated for July 24th and August 7th. The claims total $3,201,868.57. Payrolls total $1,410,151.69 for a total of $4,612,020.26. Request approval of the claims and the payrolls.
Okay. Board, I need a motion to pay our bills and pay our employees.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
I'll second.
I'll go ahead and put Robert in there.
Really?
Yeah.
Gotta give
Brilliant.
me something.
He worked
I
pretty
can't
hard.
show
He had to
up.
work pretty hard to do it.
All right, any questions?
Nope.
Okay. All those in favor of paying our employees and paying our bills signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, motion passes.
I'd also like to, at this time, give a shout-out, a sense of appreciation to our custodial maintenance and grounds crew. They've worked extremely hard this summer to get the schools ready. Cleanliness, sanitary, the outside, repairs. That group goes on without accolades. They're just amazing. I want to thank them publicly. Also inform the board that the building trades house has been sold. We closed on that last week, Thursday. And the trades board is donating $7,500 back to the school corporation as part of their profit. We appreciate that, supporting the program. A quick update on the projects, the football and track and field complex. What is not done out there yet, this is a shorter list, we still have the lights to install. The light poles will be painted. The track needs to be restriped, and the long jump boards have to be installed. Everything else is done out there. It's really coming together. It really looks amazing. Tennis courts, we have 6 courts that have been turned over to us that we're using currently. Courts 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They also look amazing. Court 1 hopefully will be turned over to us this week. Courts 2, 3, and 4 presented a little bit of a challenge. We've met with the contractors, and I feel pretty good about what their plan is for that. We'll be watching that closely to get those completed. Lights should be up and active hopefully by the end of this week, and then they'll finish the landscaping. They did the parking lot out there with all the curbing, the sidewalk street on the street sides, all done. It's really coming together well out there also. Welding lab is coming together also very well. The only thing that's holding us up is we're still waiting on our electrical panels. Once those get in, we'll be able to finish that. Hopefully we can have everything completed by maybe mid-September So maybe after the board meeting, we can do a quick tour down there. That's also coming together very well. And then our last project will be the backup chiller installation that won't start till fall break. So those are all going very well. I thank Jim Walling for staying on top of that. Andy Dardini's been a key in watching over the welding lab and that structure going together too. So I thank everybody that's been involved with that and the board's support with these projects. They're amazing additions to our school corporation.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, and I'll say too, I was obviously at the tennis courts tonight for the first home match, and the compliments were just huge from the other
Good.
team and from our parents, just
Great.
the improvement.
Oh, yeah.
And you can sit, you can walk, and you can just view a lot of courts, so when it is
Yeah.
finished, it's already excellent and a huge improvement, so, great job.
Liz, did anybody park on Grant Street, like on the sidewalk like they used to?
Nope, there's some, yellow police tape over there, and I think maybe that deterred people, but everybody was parking up by the pool right now, that lot isn't open. But with the light posts out of the lot, there's a lot more space.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's gonna be a much nicer
There'll
parking
be
lot.
space there.
Yeah.
That tape was actually to keep people from tracking through the mud
Oh,
into the tennis courts. There is parking that'll be allowed along there.
yeah, nobody did tonight.
Good.
All right. Item number 5, agenda for routine staff matters. Dr. Milton.
Thank you, Mr. Bertrand. Under 5A, classified this evening, we have a staff member to approve at the Methodist Children's Home, 2 custodial positions, 1 building maintenance position, 4 food service positions, 7 substitute teachers were trained and adding to our roster this evening, an instructional assistant, 1 media assistant, and 1 English language support staff member. Under 5B for certified, I'm submitting 5 letters of resignation to you this evening, 2 teachers at Harney Elementary and 3 here at Lebanon High School. Hannah Hickett is requesting, and I am asking the board approval for an extended maternity leave of absence from Hattie B. Stokes. This will be effective until April 2nd of 2020. Under 5C, the staff communications, Rebecca Alcott recommends Kiana Stam for a 5th grade position at Central. Dr. Dye recommends Michael Finneman for a 5th grade position at Harney, and Morgan Glendenning for a kindergarten position at Harney. Kelly Solomon has some leaves she needs to fill at Hattie B. Stokes, maternity leaves, so she's recommending 2 teachers this evening. You see in your background notes to fill those maternity leaves. And Mr. O'Rourke is recommending Katie Trafford to fill the visual arts position here in Lebanon High School, and Morgan Blackwell for the agriculture position, and Ken Keene for math. Under 5D, under extracurricular positions, Mandel Scoble is recommending soccer and cheer coaches this evening, and Dr. Dye is recommending Matt Farrell and Becky Warren to fill the tech coaching position at Harney Elementary. They're going to be splitting that position, and Mr. O'Rourke is recommending Ann Helke as the senior class sponsor. Those are all the staff recommendations this evening.
Okay. Board, I need a motion to accept the routine staff matters for classified, certified staff communications and ECA. Motion. Lisa? Second? I'll
I
put
will.
Dave down.
Good news, Mr. Wiry.
Or Robert jumps in.
Oh, we lost Mr. Wiry.
Yeah.
Disappeared.
Okay, any questions about any of those? New hires, resignations?
Are we fully
Yes.
staffed now?
We are fully staffed. I think this this fills it all up. Well, she asked the question, I have to answer it in the
Looks like
affirmative.
it.
Yeah.
This does fill it. I was looking at if we had any IAs, but
substitutes.
I think we do have one, English language or ENL, position to fill. Yeah, that's one. All classroom positions are filled and instructional assistants are filled at this time, I think.
Okay.
The new ag teacher, is she out of college, or what's her?
Yeah, she actually has a background as an agriculture teacher. at Cloverdale, and came highly recommended from her time there. She relocated to this area. I believe after marriage, if Mr. Rourke was here, he could confirm that. She actually stepped away from teaching for a time. Has actually been working at a preschool level. I don't think there was any positions available when she moved up here. So this position opened and she was available. So it was a good find for us. She came very highly recommended.
That's the area that my wife's from, and her brother sits on the Ag Advisory Board, and the former ag teacher is a board member, which Mr. Rourke spoke to and gave her top accolades that they would take her back in a minute. So I think we
Yep.
got a charm there.
Yep, for sure.
Good.
I mentioned to Mr. Bertrand, you might have noticed in your packets, the kind of a new form for certified hiring. You're not getting the full multi-page application
Yeah.
packets. Principals are now recommending folks to our office with the certified recommendation to hire, which gives you some background and information about them. If you want the full packet, we'll be happy to provide it
Okay.
for you in the future.
All right, any other questions? All right, if not, all those in favor of the accepting the agenda for the routine staff matters for classified, certified, staff communications, and ECA, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, motion passes. Item number 6, Tiger Pride. Dr. Millman.
Thank you, Mr. Bertrand. I'm pleased to make you aware of our first Pride champion of the school year for our classified staff, Ms. Michelle West, she's known as Shell. She's keeps our transportation, or our buildings, grounds, and maintenance office under control out there. Does an outstanding job. I'll read to you kind of the nomination here. On a weekly basis, Shell deals with literally hundreds of contractors, suppliers, and worst of all, sales calls on behalf of Lebanon Community Schools. Her understanding of boilers to bath tissue to bleacher inspections is vital in the summer season when the facilities department attempts to squeeze 6 months of work into 11 weeks. Each and every available day has to be scheduled with capacity to get the job done. Without her understanding of her role, attention to the smallest detail, and outrageous Outlook calendar, there's absolutely no way all this could be accomplished. If you need to get something done that involves facilities department, it begins and ends with her. So I would echo that. I think all of our staff at the central office were very excited about nominating her. I took her a nice tall Polar Pop. I got a little birdie told me that she was a Coke drinker, so to congratulate her in person. She is actually where she needs to be this evening with her son, I believe, watching him play tennis this evening. So she sends her apologies. I said, no worries, you need to be there this evening, and I would pass along the board's congratulations. But Shell is a gem, and we're very, very pleased that she is our first Pride winner of the year.
All right. Congratulations to her. Okay, item number 7, recommendation of uniform land or easement acquisition officer. Mr. Tate.
That should be offer. I don't know,
Yeah.
not offer.
That's what it was.
Offer.
No, officer, offer. So approximately 3 months ago, Wabash Valley Power made us an offer of $38,000 for the easement around the corner of Perryworth to put up new electrical power lines there. Recommendation was that we get our own appraisal, so we went through Nick Tillema. He came back with a recommendation. We countered Wabash Valley's offer with a $60,000. They've accepted that. So we need board approval to accept their offer of $60,000 for that easement offer.
Okay.
Kent has reviewed their offer and their language, so
Okay.
we vetted that through him.
All right. Board, I need a motion to accept the offer of $60,000 from Wabash Valley Power Alliance.
I'll make the motion.
Second? Robert?
You're muted, Robert.
You're muted.
He said yes, I saw him.
Okay. Any questions about that? Okay. If not, all those in favor of accepting the $60,000 bid from Wabash Valley Power and Alliance signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
My intention is to put those funds in the rainy day fund.
Rainy day, okay. All right. Item number 8, permission to advertise. Mr. Tate.
At this time, first step in working towards the 2021 budget,
Yep.
I'd ask board approval for advertising our 3-year capital projects plan, our 5-year bus replacement plan, and the school budgets for the education fund, debt service fund, referendum debt fund, operations fund, and the rainy day fund. Request board approval to advertise.
Board, I need a motion to have Mr. Tate advertise our 3-year capital projects plan, 5-year bus replacement, 2021 school budget for education, debt service, referendum, operations, and rainy day.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Any questions about that? Okay. All those in favor of allowing Mr. Tate to advertise our budget and 5-year bus plan and 3-year capital project plan, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael, I got a question. Can we back up? What's the time frame on the money, not the money, but when they would do the work on the right-of-way out there?
I don't have a time
I'm not
frame
sure
when they'll
what
do the
that's
work. I
good for.
think they have to get agreements with all the other property owners along that road to turn that side. There is no specific time frame that I'm aware of, Mr. Herr. I can ask if they can, give us a window.
Okay.
I'll do that, see if I can, see if there's any narrowing of when they might do that.
Okay. Item number 9, request approval of revised 2021 calendar. Dr. Millman.
Thank you. This is a bit of a formality to approve this calendar change to the board. We've discussed it with our Teachers Association and shared our intent with our families in the community. This reflects the new student start date of August 13th, which was last week.
Right.
But one of the more significant changes is the change in fall break, shifting that to a 2-day fall break, but also designating the first 3 days of that week as virtual learning days for our students as well. Other than that, we've kept things relatively the same. It's just a reminder to the board that changing of the calendar does not affect whether we change them to in-person days, all virtual days. It's designating
Right.
certain days as staff days and certain days as instructional days. We did have to shift some staff days, of course, to the beginning. So we did remove some of the staff days from along the way in the calendar to the front, and front-loaded those days before the 13th to allow us some preparation to get ready for some of those online lessons for our students. So I just ask for the board's approval of the calendar as presented.
Okay. Board, I need a motion to accept the revised 22-21 calendar for the school year.
I'll make the motion.
Liz? Second? Any questions about those revisions? Okay. All those in favor of accepting the revised 2021 school calendar year, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, thank you. Motion passes. Item number 10, request approval of teacher evaluation plan. Dr. Millen.
Thank you, Mr. Bertrand. This item is required for board approval as the teacher evaluation plan has changed, and there's going to be a new wrinkle here to the board approval. being needed. First, it's needed because there's a significant change in that the state legislature has removed the standardized test scores as part of the teacher evaluation. So the first part of this change in this evaluation plan is to move to the teacher's evaluation being based 100% or solely on the evaluation rubric, on the observations of their evaluator. The second reason we're bringing it before you this evening is that the state, as you may remember, created an evaluation plan called the RISE model. And if school districts adopted the RISE model as it was presented by the state to the letter, there's no need for any board approval or teacher vote or any other moves, I guess. You could also approve a modified RISE model, which made small tweaks to the RISE model. Our Lebanon model changes the number of evaluations a teacher may receive in a given year compared to the RISE model. So we needed a two-step process. One was we needed to take it to the teachers for their vote, which we did at the beginning of the year, and I think it was 98.5% of the teachers voted in favor of this plan, and then it needs to go through the board for approval, and then we can submit it to the state as the Lebanon Community Schools evaluation plan. So since we're not adopting the RISE model out of the box, we have to go through those steps. This does reflect that we have gone through the discussion process with our Teachers Association, gone through the required teacher vote to get it to this stage. Now we're asking for the board's approval this evening so we can submit our evaluation plan to the state as required.
Okay. Board, I need a motion to approve the teacher evaluation plan.
I'll make the motion.
Dave? Second? I'll second it. Any questions about the changes?
Yeah, Dr. Milden, does this change anything about the way, sanctioned isn't the right word, but if teachers are found to be, you know,
Poor
needing
performers?
improvement or whatever,
Mhm.
does it change anything about what we do to implement?
No,
Okay.
no, and most of that is actually required as part of statute now, Indiana code. So all of that still has to be followed if a teacher would be found to be in the category of improvement necessary or potentially ineffective, which would trigger the requirement for a performance improvement plan. All of those steps are all still part of the plan. What you see in front of you this evening, reflecting the RISE model number of observations versus ours, is really the only significant change, of course, other than going to 100% rubric.
Okay.
Mr. Bertrand?
Yes.
I don't think Mr. Wyrie realizes you cannot hear him.
Can you hear us, Robert?
He can hear us, we
It's
can't
lighting
hear
up.
him.
Okay. He needs to unmute.
I
We
think
can't
he-
hear you,
I
though.
think he is unmuted because he has a,
Light keeps going on.
Yeah. Okay. All right, I told him to unmute. So, all right. Any other questions about the evaluation plan? He said he's unmuted, but, okay. Any other questions? Robert, can you hear us now?
He can hear you, you just can't hear him.
Okay. All right. Text me if you have any questions. He said that he can hear us. Okay. All right. He's back?
Are you back?
Nope. Okay. He's still talking, but that's too bad. All right. All those in favor of the teacher evaluation plan signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, motion passes. Okay, item number 11, appointment of the HMMPL Advisory Board Representative. Dr. Millman.
thank you, Mr. Bertrand. As you may be aware, there's a new library being constructed in the Whitestown area, And this group was awarded the Hussey Mayfield Memorial Public Library. I can see why they use the abbreviations now all the time. That's a mouthful. Was awarded the opportunity to do that through their taxing district. And they reached out to us to request a representative from the Lebanon schools to be on their advisory committee as they begin thinking about how to construct that and advice on that area. So I'd like to recommend Mary Dickerson this evening as the representative for Lebanon schools. When I contacted the folks at the board here, Public Library Board, how long this appointment would be, whether they see this as a permanent board or just under construction. He said really it's probably a 2-year appointment at this point as they're preparing for the construction. Could be longer, but I really do think it's kind of helping shape what that's going to look like. So I asked a representative from Perry Worth. I think they may have done rock,
Right.
paper, scissors, and
Right.
Mary was it. So we're going to
Well, she was
recommend
gone
her.
that day.
That's right. That's right. Asking board approval of her appointment to the board.
Okay. Board, I need a motion to appoint Mrs. Mary Dickerson to the HMMPL Advisory Board. Somebody want to make a motion on that?
Motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Any questions about that?
I'm glad that they asked for someone
I
from
am
the
too.
school district. I
Yeah.
think
Yes.
it's a kind of a tricky situation that Worth Township is in with
Yes, yes.
selecting Zionsville, so I'm
Yeah.
glad Mary will be there.
Yeah.
As part of the discussion.
I thought it was important to have an administrator in that
Mhm.
position that might be able to pick up on conversation it would be necessary to have an administrator lens for. So
Uh-huh.
I was grateful for Mary to do that.
Yes.
Any other questions? Okay. If not, all those in favor of having Mrs. Dickerson as our board representative for the HMMPL Board, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, motion passes. Item 12, request approval of Community Foundation donation. Dr. Millen.
Thank you, Mr. Bertrand. As I mentioned in my announcements, we are very grateful for this donation from the Boone County Community Foundation, and per our board policy, donations and monetary donations of $1,000 or more do require the board approval. I'm expecting an enthusiastic approval this evening of this gift, so I bring it to you for your approval this evening.
Okay. Board, I need a motion to accept the $50,000 that we got from the Community Foundation. Dave?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Robert.
That'd be Robert.
He's got thumbs up out there.
Any questions about that money?
No, but I find it funny that it says stop moral incentives.
Oh, that's probably my typo. Apologize for that.
Our staff is pretty moral. I don't think they need an incentive.
All right.
You're welcome. It's funny.
That's just, it's very generous. I mean, when we found out there was a
Oh.
donation coming,
Yeah.
it really is a different scale than anything I had in my head. I don't know what anyone else was
No,
thinking,
yes.
but, I think it's significant, and
Yep.
that's
Yeah,
Yep.
very much appreciated.
yes, it is.
And now we have to get busy spending it.
Yep.
Which would be good.
All right, any other questions? All right, all those in favor of accepting the $50,000 donation from the Community Foundation, signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion passes. Okay, item number 13. Request approval of Mental Health Partners Memorandum of Understanding. Dr. Millen.
Thank you, Mr. Bertrand. Some recent legislation in Senate Enrolled Act 246, which Mrs. Hutchinson is very well aware of. She was involved in a lot of the discussions around this bill in her role. Now requires school districts to engage in mental health providers. We're very fortunate here in Lebanon Schools to have some great partnerships, but as part of that law, it also requires now memorandums of understanding with each of those providers. So we have worked with all of those. I'd like to compliment Diane Scott for taking this up for the district. This was not an easy lift, honestly. There was a lot of moving parts to this, a lot of meetings that had to take place with our partners. I had worked with Ken Franson to look over the memorandums of understanding as well. Some of our partners had their own MOUs. We wanted to try to streamline it into our MOUs. So there's a lot of wordsmithing back and forth to get both sides comfortable on all of these. In fact, one of them, I could flip through here, but it's escaping me now. We actually did agree. Which one? Cummins has two, and I think there's another as well, required one. And we worked with Kent, and we were fine with that, but also had to revise
Right.
that language a bit. But this formalizes it. This is a necessary step in the process of potential future funding as well. These are the types of things that we'll have to verify to the state in order to be able to qualify for things such as the school safety grant, which helps fund some of our SROs and the work in that area. So a lot of these things are tied together. This is part of that requirement. So we're just bringing the MOUs for this is likely going to be an annual request as we revise these as years go forward. So this is the first time we've had to do this, but I wanted to explain what they were to the board.
Okay. Board, I need a motion to approve the Mental Health Partners Memorandum of Understanding. Lisa,
Motion?
second? I'll second it. Any questions about this?
So, how will it all work since we've mostly worked with Inwell and Pascal? I mean, are they gonna figure out how to divide up the students, or, like, is that gonna be something that the providers figure out, or are we gonna be involved in, just dividing up students, or how does that process work?
Yeah, honestly, this does not change our day-to-day operations at all. And what everybody's role is currently within the district and how it's working and how students are referred and what their footprint is in any of the buildings. This is simply putting a memorandum of understanding together with them per the law, covering the indemnification pieces and making sure that everyone agrees to not share information about
Right.
students and patients and families according to various laws. So from an operational standpoint, it really doesn't change anything from what we're doing. It's just formalizing it with MOUs to comply with the law.
And I assume that everyone is required to keep data on students that they're serving, and that we will have access to that.
Yes, yeah, the same way we would all of our students in the services. There's some, according to whatever the MOU is with those partners, right?
Any other questions? Okay. All those in favor of accepting the approval of the Mental Health Partners Memorandum of Understanding signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, motion passes. Item number 14, second reading of policy update. Dr. Millman.
Thank you, Mr. Bertrand. Just a reminder, this is policy 8450, control of casual contact communicable diseases. This only adds language about the requirement of students or staff to wear PPE or utilize any equipment that might be necessary for any communicable disease.
Right.
We're dealing with COVID-19 right now, but it could apply to
Right.
anything that might happen in the future.
Okay. Board, I need a motion, since this is second reading, of the policy update 8450, the control of casual contact communicable disease. Need a motion for that?
Make a motion?
Dave? Second?
I'll second.
Any questions about that policy? All those in favor of the second reading for policy 8450 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, motion passes. Okay, item number 15, other business. We do have our regular scheduled board meeting on September 15th, here again at 7 o'clock. We do have an executive session on the 26th, 28th, 26 at 8
26.
o'clock. Yeah. We have that. Does anybody else have any other new business? Go ahead, Mr. Hurt.
Okay, I know athletics is going, is marching band, are they able to participate or do their thing?
They are. Very abbreviated show that they're working on, like a 3.5 minute, 3 minute, 45-second show, because obviously their time together was shortened. I was able to get them some popsicles this year at band camp, but I'm keeping that tradition alive. So we did get out there to support them. They've been using the field. They actually were on the field before the football team. Was able to use it. They've enjoyed their time there to be able to rehearse. So they are working on it, and Mr. Levine has created a space for them Friday night to sit and watch the game and support the team. So yes, they are participating, but not competing, because any of the competitions,
Right.
ISMA
So
or
stay.
track show was
Right.
canceled.
Right.
Yes,
That was my second question. They are using the field.
yes.
Okay, good.
And I think middle school is supposed to use it this week, maybe tonight or
Thursday.
tomorrow, so I think,
I think Thursday they have.
yeah.
one game.
So the middle school teams get to be on it for the first time this week as well,
Okay.
so.
Okay. Any other new business?
Stop arm.
Any stop arm violations?
It's possible.
All right.
There you go.
There you go.
Finally happened.
3 days.
I would just like to say, thanks to you, Dr. Milliman, and all the administrators and teachers, everyone, custodians who've had a hand in getting us all back to school. Our plans changed several times before this happened, but
Yep.
I think, at least so far, granted it hasn't been that long, but so far, I think we've managed to figure it out and not have to go to all virtual learning like some school districts have had to do in their 2 weeks that they were open, so.
Yeah.
And I think it's, like you've said multiple times, in large part due to the student compliance. And that, of course, is a reflection of most of the parents here encouraging that,
Absolutely.
so.
Yep.
So I am happy that my child is back in school for 2 days a week, which means I will have a quiet house to myself for 2 days a
At
week.
least a couple days a week.
Right.
Lisa, I'll echo that. Dr. Millman's done an amazing job. I think there's another one in the background that has read more COVID documents than any of us want to even imagine, and that's Mr.
for
Martin.
sure.
He's
Yeah.
really tried to stay on top of this, and I can't even imagine what kind of challenge that is.
So, and are you still, I assume, meeting with the health department on a regular basis, Dr. Surveys, whoever?
We don't have a standing meeting, but
Okay.
we do have ongoing communication. We are looking at 2 weeks' worth of data on a rolling look, and 3 main data points. One is the positivity rate. The other is the positive cases per 100,000 citizens in Boone County, and then looking at the trend of those positive cases. And those are categorized into high, medium, and low risk levels. You essentially take the average of those 3 data points and those levels to determine if we continue with the schedule we're on, or even consider moving to even more in-person instruction, or move the other way. Understandably, people often want a really bright red line with the data. And I again, I understand that. These 3 data points give us a really good starting point at looking at that risk level. But there's data within the data, that you have to consider. So for example, if you would happen to creep up in one category, but the age bracket in the county that made that data move is the 70 and over age bracket, that matters when you're trying to navigate all of it. So that's just one example. So just because we creep above or below a line doesn't always make the call for us. So that's where we have this ongoing dialogue with the health department Dr. Service, I'd say he calls me twice a week, giving me updates, hot spots, things to look for, kind of where he sees data going and saying maybe this Friday we may see this data point move a little bit, kind of give me some context for it. But he keeps in contact with all three superintendents on a regular basis, so that partnership has been tremendous.
Good job, everyone.
Anything else? Robert? All right, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Mrs.